Welcome back to Dishonored 2. We are at a slightly different location than we were when I ended the episode because I remember that there are bone charms that we haven't picked up along the way. Lucky needle. That. Slight chance to recover sleep darts. Well, just save the game because that sounds like something I would like to have in a crafted. Plus new one traits to learn, thank you. Perfect. Save the game again. Then we'll craft a bone charm that does that, because that sounds very useful considering the lack of sleep darts that we are allowed to have. Based on Emily. Lucky needle. Go and craft. Excellent. And let's equip that as well. There we go. Let's move on to get the other ones. Right up here. That might be in the... Okay, so there is one upstairs. There's one rune upstairs. And then there is one in the chambers where... Dr. Hypatia is located, is what I was supposed to say. Okay, so this place is slightly infected. Just slightly.
This is going to be tricky.
Nah. Just requires a few grenades every here and there. No trickiness about that. There we go. It's a room. There's a few more incendiary bolts. That will be useful. It appears to be some kind of collection of chloroform. Okay, so there is another one over there. I'll take that one out with a grenade too, I think. While swinging for blood flies. Make a very peculiar sound. Plenty of chloroform around here. Blood amber. Raw whalebone. These tanning boxes would give me the creeps if I were to have to be inside one of them. Solarium schedule. Oh dear. Mrs. Anita Cardona, 2 hours. Mr. Roberto Garcia, 5 hours. Serve Mr. Garcia some valerian tea to ease his cough every hour. Please schedule a session for him this afternoon as well. This sounds like a very good way of making sure your patients skin cancer, 2 hours a time. Mr. Andrew McAllister, 2 hours. Mr. Emilio Molinero, 2 hours. Miss Lucia Pastor, half an hour. The patient is pregnant and in very weak condition. Be sure not to exceed the prescribed time. Apply some leche thistle lotion before and after the session. Mrs. Camilla Durante, 2 hours. These are empty. This one is not. So, blast that. Bone Charm. Void Rapture. That do. Sometimes enemies are rendered unconscious by Mesmerize. That also seems like a very good one. We will definitely apply that. Anything else in this room? Wouldn't appear so. We do want the Blood Amber though. Ugh. Didn't I see? I think I saw, yeah. Those are quite handy. No Blood Amber.
Here we have something under my fingernails again. What was I working with?
Dr. Hypatia.
Are you a patient of mine? I'm sorry. I should know that.
I'm here to ask you about something.
Do you cover your face because you were hurt? The afflictions we treat here are more common than anyone likes to admit.
I'm not here for treatment. I'm looking for Anton Sokolov.
Sokolov? Yes, he was here for a short time, but she took him away to see Kiran Jindosh. Do you hear something?
What about the Crown Killer? The patient of yours?
The Crown Killer? That name came from the newspapers. I'm afraid I don't... Oh yes, the murders. I was in Dunwall, studying diseases found among whaling crews. Wait, did someone just call me? I've been forgetting things. The Crown Killer is an interesting case. I feel almost sure I could help with that. It's just, I used to do such good work and now my memory is failing me. Who is that calling me? Excuse me.
Okay. Now there is some very interesting things going on in here.
Are you all right?
Dr. Hypatia did this. She's the Crown Killer. But she's not herself. She developed a serum trying to help the miners. The first version caused horrible changes to her mind. It's too late for me, but maybe you can still save her. She's a good person.
What can I do?
In my safe, in disease treatment, you'll figure out how to make the counter serum help her. The safe code is 121.
I've always wondered what your flesh tastes like, my dear assistant.
First time I played this level, that scared the crap out of me.
She's gone. What happened?
Fifth Lieutenant Mikos, report to the duty officer as soon as you've finished your current patrol.
She will be wandering around the area, and what we need to do is get back to the recuperation area. Rather, back to the lab. We can make the necessary serum. I want to check to make sure that we've seen. Spotted by enemies, 0. Perfect. The safe.
Hopefully it's inside.
1. Then we have Vasco's journal. Counter serum notes. This time it has to work. I'm certain the dosage is right, and I will only have one chance. Grind all the solid ingredients together, including the aluminium salts. Done. Add some egg whites. They should have some in the kitchen, but I will have to be discreet. Done. 2 weeks in my safe away from daylight should be enough for the serum base to activate. Add half a syringe of tainted blood taken away from an infested human corpse. If Dr. Hypatia was in her right mind, she would probably object to this step, but since the Grand Guard put Addermeyer under lockdown, several men have died, killed by blood flies. They might as well serve the greater good. All the previous blood samples seemed promising. I'll need to avoid being seen again by the janitor. Heat the final mixture and inject as soon as possible. Take the syringe. We already have that. There it is. Vasco's diary, month of Nets, 1851. A patient arrived late at night complaining of grit in her eyes. The good doctor was resting, finally, so I took the case. After careful observation, I determined that the cause was silver dust from the mines. To bring forth tearing from the eyes, I combined glycerin and pepper oil, which I planned to follow at once with a rinse. However, the burning sensation was apparently quite marked, and the patient was too distressed to let me attend further. However, the flow of tears was sufficient that I'd wager by morning her eyes were clear. I declare my idea for purging the eyes of grit to be a success. Sell the formula. Just the thing to get dust and debris banished from the eyes. Vasco's formula for eyes and ears, that's what I'll call it. Fast and effective. All with Dr. Alexandria Hypatia's permission, of course. She knows best.
I finally understand it. There's a part of Hypatia that she doesn't even know about. It's always there, riding along in her mind, takes over and forces her to use more of the original serum with some regularity. The Duke keeps her here and, if I'm right, sends her out on diabolical assignments. Hypatia is the one the newspapers are calling the Crown Killer. She leaves and comes back, leaving bloody footprints. But there's a cure, a counter serum. I'll try to administer it once I get my notes from the safe in disease treatment. Hello? Oh, Alexandria. I was just... No. It's you!
Yes, Vasco, my love. You're found out, and now we have some experiments to conduct. Come, I'll make you comfortable.
No!
Sounds inconvenient, maybe even slightly unpleasant. Okay, so here we have an infected body.
I hope this works.
That is one mean syringe. go. Turn off the burner. And then use the bad mean syringe once more.
For her sake, I hope this works.
And now to go back to the Crown Killer. I'm sure some of you already had figured out that Dr. Hypatia was the Crown Killer herself. But I must confess that the first time that I played the game, it came as a bit of a surprise to me. I figured out, of course, that something was very wrong when she was complaining about her memory failing her. But the game cannot be saved.
What do I smell here? River mud, northern spices, wood smoke, done all.
Okay, so the key is to get in behind her. And then... Whoop.
No, no, no! Not back to sleep! I won't go. I won't give it back!
Target rescued. The Crown Killer. And I'm just checking that she didn't see us. No, she did not.
Dr. Hypatia?
Yes. I'm sorry. Something's not right with me. Maybe I contracted something working with infectious samples.
No. Someone was poisoning you. But you should be better now. I found some alchemical notes and made a counter serum.
Poisoning me?
Don't worry. I'm gonna take care of it. If you need a place to lay low for a few days, come find us. I'm staying with an ally on a boat called the Dreadful Whale.
There we go. Really has done a rather unpleasant job. To whomever finds my body, I know that I'm dying, haunted by failure. I couldn't save Dr. Hypatia from herself. If someone finds this note, please don't blame her. She has no idea what other self is doing. She doesn't know the monster she has become. If only I had been braver, maybe I could have cured her. If it's not too late, please, I beg of you, prepare the antidote and save her. The instructions are in my personal safe, and the code is 121. Now it's just a matter of...
Reminds me of natural philosophy lessons from Anton and Piero.
looting this little area, of course.
I come and I go, putting Hypatia to sleep as I want. But even when she's awake, I'm with her, looking out through her eyes. My cold, dry sister. She saves her love for the sooted workers, suffocating deep down in the mines. For the children in hovels at the edge of the city, cursed with short, nasty lives. And for Vasco, her trusted assistant, missing now for months. Wherever did he go, dear sister? I long to take him apart, to roll in the mess, rutting against his slippery skull, driving myself against his red fever. In time, good Vasco. In time.
That medication or whatever she made certainly was potent, say. Sleep darts, that is nice. Yeah. Blood amber. Yes. Stun mine. Corrupt bone charm. Crown Killer rampage continues. Wherever there are opponents of Empress Emily Kaldwin, so follow the ghastly deeds of the Crown Killer. The first victims were citizens of Karnaca, most notably Cory Brockburn, one of the earliest to so openly criticize the young Kaldwin. Just a month after the passage of her Sharecropper Rights Act, Brockburn urged the Parliament in Bristol to hold a vote for no confidence. He never ceased to scrutinize the decrees from Dunwall Tower, attacking each with the same ferocity. After Brockburn's terrible death, several more fell in Karnaca, always old foes of the Kaldwin family, including Janice Tynes, former editor of the Karnaca Gazette. A week after her scathing editorial called Emily an Empress in name only, Tynes was found dead in her office, missing several limbs that were never recovered. Then the murders spread to other parts of the Empire. Dozens have now been taken, the latest being Ichabod Boyle, a respected businessman from Dunwall who founded the Anti-Rationing Club to protest recent imperial decrees on the distribution of whale oil. I regard her within and without.
You did well finding Anton Sokolov, my friend. The old man is with Kirin Jindosh, who is prying him apart, digging out all his secrets, adding Sokolov's knowledge to his own. Who knows what wonders of natural philosophy Jindosh will reveal in future days. But it's time for you to come out once again. Time to play. We have need for your special talents. The good doctor's due for a trip to Dunwall because Ichabod Boyle is next on the list. Make haste, and make this one messy. Give the newspapers something to write about and give the people of the Empire fodder for their nightmares.
That definitely sounded like Ichabod, like the Duke Abel. Sokolov's abduction. Dear friend, the dock captain just sent word that he spotted Sokolov. Knows his habits. Says Sokolov buys whale blood of the boats by the gallon to make pigments, apparently. See, you seem to share some interests with the old genius, so why don't you go and invite him over like we said? The sooner the better. He's probably staying on a boat in the bay. I trust you'll be able to follow his scent. Keep him safe in Addermire, don't hurt him, or he will be useless for our plans. If you're hungry, though, the dock captain has served his purpose, and a second-in-command recently did me a favor. Luca. I think we have all of the runes and the bone charms. Just making sure that we're not missing anything. We've read before. Now it's just a matter of getting out of here. Save up here. And save. Stamp this one. And then we link this guy with... He's too far away. And let's get him over there. You close enough now? Yes, you are. And have one of these. Perfect. And put them in the dumpster. over the sleep dart. Perfect. Close it. Will probably be a interesting awakening for them. Small bolts, crystal apple.
That's the watchtower.
Now, on top of this lamp should be a perfect position. We will link these two, but we need to wait for him to move, otherwise he will just fall down.
I'm hungry.
There we go. Perfect. Get up here. Take back our sleep dart. It's just a matter of getting over here, removing the whale oil tank. Let's just put it gently here.
Quest for new boots, and what did I get? A sock. One useless sock.
I think he's the only guard down there. Take it the old-fashioned, traditional way. Dump him there. I don't think there are any guards down there. Anything of interest here? I don't think so. Which basically means that we are done with the level.
I'll lay low until you're finished.
So let's talk to Megan.
Can we leave this place yet? I don't like it. Ready now?
To the dreadful whale.
Yes. Let's get back to the ship.
Did you find Sokolov?
No. But Hypatia was the crown killer.
What? I don't believe you.
The Duke tricked her into injecting herself with a flawed version of her serum. It changed her, but there was an antidote, so she's alive. If she remembers the murders, she'll have to deal with that.
What about Sokolov?
They gave him to a man named Kieran Jindosh. Do you know him?
Everybody knows him. The grand inventor of Serkonos.
Then he's next. Let's hope Anton's all right.
No kills, no detections. 8 bodies were detected. We got all the runes, all the outsider shrines, all the bone charms. Did lose about 500 coins, but got all the paintings and all the blueprints. You?
In his day, Sokolov was Dunwall's genius. He transformed our city with his inventions. Electricity for the factories and carriages racing along above the streets. As I grew up, his buzzing and glowing devices kept me safe. His stories always made me giggle, and his outrageous conversations shocked aristocrats and overseers alike. Now, all these years later, Kieran Jindosh is Karnaka's genius. A mad inventor who has given the Duke sinister machines that move like people but aren't. Clockwork soldiers that fight and kill. I've got to find out where Sokolov's being held and bring the old man back alive. Rescue one genius and cage the other before he creates an army of clockwork soldiers.
And we are back on the ship. Heavy pouch, 100 coins. The travel log. This is new. Investigating Addermire Institute. This boat captain, Megan Foster, she helped me escape the coup. But she's giving me the side eye when she thinks I'm not looking. She's all I've got for the moment, though soon I hope Anton Sokolov will be joining us. My old teacher, keenest intellect in the Empire, filthy mouth, got himself abducted. Megan says he was last seen being dragged toward Addermire Institute by the Crown Killer, which makes no sense to me unless the killer is a patient there. Maybe he needs medicine or something, but how can a deranged patient be working for the Duke and Delilah? Addermire's chief alchemist might know, Alexandria Hypatia. She's been running this place for years. She's famous for curing the miners' diseases. If she knows anything, I'll make her talk. I might have read that before, but... The Crown Killer is no more. Next, Jindosh. I finally uncovered how my enemies created the Crown Killer. What better way to erode confidence in me before the coup? If I had stopped to think about it for even a few minutes, maybe I could have kept my people's trust, but that would have required patience, and my advisors always remind me that I have none of that particular trait. But to use Hypatia's own serum against her? Horrible. I'm happy I could find a cure. She's a brilliant alchemist. Now she can continue her research to help the people of Sokonos. I wasn't able to rescue Sokolov. He's been taken elsewhere to Kirin Jindosh's mansion. He's the inventor of the Clockwork Soldier, and if he's able to use Sokolov's genius for his own plans, it might be very, very bad. I've seen his killing machines in action at Dunwall Tower, and I cannot allow Delilah to have such an ally. I'm sure Jindosh takes pleasure in keeping his intellectual rival captive. Well, won't be for long if I have any say in it. The Dreadful Whale. What a weird name. It's hard to sleep on this ship, and when I do, my dreams are troubled. Well, I'm awake now and thinking about Sokolov. I remember him at the Hound Pit's pub so long ago, trapped like a beast in a cage. He smelled of stale piss and rotting meat, but they couldn't break him. He held on to himself and picked up again as my tutor. Something I needed in the aftermath of my mother's death. Beware of the dignitaries bearing gifts, he used to tell me, but I was still a child and I liked gifts. I thought nothing sounded more pleasant. Now I know better. I also find myself thinking of Callista, my old governess. She always wanted to travel the world on a big boat. Eventually she left Dunwall, then stopped writing a few months later. And there's the note from Megan. Dr. Hypatia needed a place to sleep, so I cleared the stuff out of the spare cabin. I was able to sell most of it. Here's what's left of the money. It's not a lot, I know. Whale oil is expensive and under imperial rationing decree, but you know that. Megan Foster.
Is it truly possible the good doctor didn't know she was the Crown Killer? Maybe she just didn't want to. You might want to talk to Hypatia before we head out. She's taken one of the rooms. Just for a while, I think. Needed to be away from Addermire.
Understandable. Drain engine room, another week, another leak. I wasted hours on it and I couldn't get it stopped. I'll shut the water off, assuming I can find the crank wheel. Something to deal with once Sokolov is safe. Trek bridge tubing, done. All down oil, done. Buy onions, done.
Nerve of the Grand Guard. Oh, you're here. Stay with me a moment.
Dr. Hypatia, can you remember anything that might help me? I need to find Anton Sokolov. He could be the key to unraveling the Duke's plans.
My memories are disjointed. The Duke is close to his grand inventor, Kirin Jindosh. But that man has the empathy of a mantis. He seems to both admire and despise Sokolov. We visited Aramis Stilton. I liked him. but something bad happened. Just snatches of memory. Sorry.
You should rest easy for a while. Maybe some of that will help.
I hope so. I'm not sure I even fully understand what you did for me, but I owe you for helping me at Admire. Thank you.
So, we have plenty of Admire solution, but we don't need any of it, so that doesn't really help us much. Dr. Hypatia's notes. On a boat with friends, I believe, I slept. Thankfully without the usual nightmares. Perhaps the sea air does me good. The captain, Megan Foster, brought some tea earlier. Such an interesting woman. She seemed to understand about my strange, disjointed memories and the feelings of dread that accompany them. As soon as I am able, I must return to Admire. So much of the last few months seem a blur. What was I accomplishing? What of my research into serums for the Black Spittle? My work was so easily derailed, I can only conclude that I was suffering from a complete exhaustive breakdown. I will need time to recover. Guess that's some kind of a blessing that she doesn't really remember. Okay.
Megan must be up on deck. Ramsey and the Crown Killer. 2 pieces of the puzzle. More to go. So the Crown Killer was a tool of the Duke's coup. The murders had a calculated effect. I wonder how recently this silvergraph image of Jindosh was made. With a couple dozen clockwork soldiers, Jindosh changed the Empire. What would he do with an army?
Clockwork Soldier Basics. To all personnel, after last week's disaster, the Grand Inventor, Kirin Jindosh, circulated the following information related to his Clockwork Soldiers. All Grand Guard personnel should read this report. The Clockwork Soldier is protected by armored wooden plates. If some miscreant destroys these, then there's nothing protecting the vulnerable mechanisms underneath. If something knocks off the Clockwork's head, the thing will attack anyone it can, ally or not. That means you. Given the expensive optics Mr. Jindosh has provided each Clockwork with, they can see in the front and in the back. Remember that if any one of them Remember that if another one of them goes haywire. Eesh. If some fool is able to get close enough, there is a small panel on each Clockwork that can be rewired, which will invert their perception of friend and foe. Again, that means you get attacked. Keep these things in mind, and the Clockworks will be an asset and not a liability. 3rd Lieutenant Fiora Diaz, Lower City Technical Office, Grand Serkonan Guard. Now we have Book 2 of the Reflection Condition Continent, but I don't think it's time to read that now. What we want is the crank wheel. Let's check if there's anything behind here. Nope. Is there anything of interest in the kitchen? Nope. And let's just pick up the crank wheel and go down into the engine room. I'll put the crank wheel here and turn it. Blood of the Abel House. I believe we have read this before. So we turned off the water. Then there is one final thing that we need to do before I will end the episode, and that is go up to the very top of the ship. And there should be a journal here, Megan Foster's notebook. I'm starting to understand why Anton wanted to go to Dunwall to seek Emily's help. She is impressive. I have to wonder if she's really suited for palace life. Maybe she wonders that herself sometimes. We could have been good friends at a time when I was running across the rooftops like she is now, watching my enemies from the shadows. I just hope she's breathing tomorrow morning so I can complain when she puts her dusty boots up on the table again. I've lost so many friends. First, my sweet Deirdre, others along the way. Good old Aramis Stilton, who disappeared 3 years ago, and now Anton. Maybe this is my punishment. I'm bad luck. Please, Emily, bring him back. I think that is about it. That's it. Okay, so with all that done, thank you all so very much for joining me, and I will see you all in the next episode.